And we're live.
Hey everybody, good Monday morning. Happy Monday morning, hopefully, for everybody, and welcome to Reaper Pro Tips with your host, Anne. I hope that you are all having a lovely day so far, for those of you who have had most of a day instead of only a tiny bit of a day. No, your clocks are not off, Twisted Omo. We're just a little bit running a little bit tardy this morning. Little bit. It's Monday. Yeah, time is an illusion. Well, Einstein said it was totally illusion anyway, so we're all good. Hey, Iggy. Hey, Nabat, thanks for the sub. Note the sub, Justin. Good morning, Stephanie, and D. Clearman, and Jay, and Kuriniko, and Twisted Oma, and McKnight, and Margaret. Thank you for this gift sub. For Valendar. Or, oh, I see. Continuing the gift sub that you got from Valendar. Well, that's really cool. Thanks. Margaret has decided we are worth it. Remember, a sub for the show is a vote for the show. You tell the bosses that you like my show. Please let Anne continue doing this. Hey, Sharky. How's it going? Good morning. Good morning. So worth it. Good. Good. Good morning, Surrender Doll. Yes. And oh, and before we get into proper painting things, thank you for everybody who friended me on Pokemon Go now that we have a Pokemon Go channel on the Discord. I have lots of new friends now. I'm so excited. But yes. All good. Everybody's good. Good. Are you all awake this morning? Because I'm like still, I could do another, cup of tea after this, probably. Good. Everybody's happy for their Pokemon friends. I saw a couple more people friended me too. So thank you, everybody. For those who didn't know, we have a Pokemon Go channel in the Discord now. So you can put your ID in there and we will friend you. And then you can get all sorts of new friends. So if you have those quests, that require you to make 3 new friends, now you can make them. Alrighty. Hey, Planer. So, alright, I guess we are going to just jump right in. Let's just jump right in and start painting. Oh, yeah. I'm kind of there, Nomad Zeke. It's like, I didn't sleep real great last night. I don't know what it was. Just sometimes if I don't just have water before bed, I get a little bit... It's like the getting older thing where your body's like, you didn't treat me quite the way I wanted to be treated, so now you didn't sleep as well as you wanted to. Alright, drinking tea right now. Yes, I'm just going to have a little bit more... Alright, well, let's go to minicam, and I'll dial that in anyway. Let me deactivate my intro. Remember to do that. There we are. Alright. Hey. How's it going? WDBD Scott. I'll just call you Scott. Alright. And Justin's like, your pod is getting in my way. Alright. We have a Dark Elf today. Look, yay, Dark Elf. Oh, wait, you can't see Dark Elf because she, I think it's she, is very blurry. Hold on, Dark Elf, come here. I'm going to go even closer, Dark Elf. There we go. Let's do that. Let's try to keep the Dark Elf at about that level. I'm here, Threads of Fate. Can you not see me? Yeah, I thought I would do some dark steel, like NMM, like moody, broody Dark Elf NMM. Oh, maybe refresh Threads of Fate? Because we stopped hosting a while ago. Let me see, what color should we use? We can use... I think I'll go blue with it. I could use black indigo. Could also use some teal. What do you guys want today? Do you want kind of a blue-black dark steel armor, or do you want, like, teal? We could do teal. We could do black indigo and make it a little purple. Any of the above would work. Any 2 refreshes. Wow, your computer needs caffeine too, Threads of Fate. You like blue-black? That's what I typically do. I do like blue-black armor a lot. So let's do a blued steel kind of thing. So, alright, in that case, I am going to do blue liner, but I think I might want some more blue. So let's grab, what's a dark blue that jumps out at me from my happy paint drawer of doom? I thought I had Ezran blue from Pathfinder in here. Yeah, I did. Alright, let's try that. Or, oh, I think that's a good color. We can do that. I could also do ultramarine or cyan. No, actually, you know what? Ultramarine is a good coverage, so let's do that. And then I've got my black. Actually, tomorrow I think I will do Terrain Tuesday again, and I am going to do the bricks behind my Frost Giant. Because I didn't get to them. I was so busy with other things. Also, I fixed my pillar a little bit. Like, it was a little bit off kilter after I glued it last week, so I went back and straightened it up and did more stonework. You can see my stonework. So I'm slowly getting this backdrop in shape. I also decided that I kind of wanted a direwolf teddy bear in the scene, like that has been kind of slashed open to kind of imply story. David was not a fan of that idea, but I like it, so I'm going to do it. After all, teddy bears are pretty easy to sculpt. And I think we have a teddy bear. Don't we have a teddy bear in Reaper somewhere? I thought we did. So I'm going to do 4 drops of blue liner. Then I'm going to do 1 drop of ultramarine blue just to push the blue. I could also use clear blue. What old mini did you find, Draconis lupus? That's really fun when you find those. If they're really, really old and like from old Grenadier or Partha, you should totally bring them to ReaperCon when we get ReaperCon again and show it to like... I know that Bob and Julie always like to see their ancient stuff, like if you find it. Because like half the time they don't remember sculpting it, but they're like, oh yeah, that many! And it's super fun. So I put 1 drop of ultramarine blue in. Ultramarine blue adds a couple of factors to this. It's going to make my blue a lot richer, so it's going to be much more bluish. And I can always tone that down if I don't like it. But sorry, this is a very faded blue liner, as you can see. But the other thing ultramarine brings is more coverage, because as you recall, liner paints are more translucent naturally, which helps you achieve a more natural level of lining. You can thin it a little bit to get a more subtle line. You can leave it almost straight up to get a very dark line. But it doesn't necessarily have real high coverage because we want it to have that adaptability. So by adding a drop of ultramarine blue to our 4 drops of blue liner, we can get more coverage. Hello, Edrajai.
How is everyone today?
Justin is in the house.
The digital house.
Oh no, not the work call, Sharky. That's what David gets to. Is he's got a work call that right now, so no alpha in the chat.
Is Draconis lupus new? How are you, Draconis, if you are?
Hey, Draconis. Old Ral Partha Drizzt Warden. Wow. Yeah. That's about when I started working at my local game store in college, is how old that is. And that's ancient. Like, you can see the gray in the hair, you know? But, yeah, that might be worth something, Draconis, if it's mint in blister. Never know. Sometimes old nostalgic minis of really iconic characters are worth a little bit something, but I wouldn't even know how to... You'd have to eBay and look on eBay and see. So I don't want to go, like, really black with this starting out, though, because I'm not seeing my blue at all. So I also want to add 1 drop of pure white. You could technically use something like Ghost White or a bluish white if you wanted even more blue in there. But right now I just want to see what my color looks like. So we're up to 1 drop of pure white, 1 drop of ultramarine blue, and 4 drops of blue liner. Let me mix that up and put a little water in it. Fairly new to the channel. Well, welcome, Draconis. Welcome. We hang out and paint here, and I'm going to be working on this elf today. Both are around $40. Yeah, so there you go, right? That's really cool. There's a lot of nostalgia around old D&D and old Forgotten Realms and old Dragonlance and all that sort of thing. So I have a couple of vintage minis hanging out here around here somewhere too. Just that I hang on to out of nostalgia. I think a couple of Grenadier. I don't know where they're hiding. I kind of tried to remove and declutter my area so that I could feel more productive. All right. Julie's 25 Oh, yeah. Yeah, the lead rot can be a thing. That's the problem with those really old minis. Yeah, Stranger Things totally proof that, Threads of Fate. You are correct. Hello,
I love that Stranger Things used a couple of our minis because it's so much easier to tell people now. Like, have you ever seen Stranger Things and then go look at episode 1 when they do like the Demogorgon and they show the actual wizard himself and like the wizard's hours. Like that's what we do.
I'm just going to put on a dark coat. Since we're going to do a dark NMM, a dark, broody, moody, drow-like NMM, I'm just going to put a dark blue base coat down. I can always shade it down and highlight it up, but I want a kind of a almost gunmetal. I want a really dark blue to steel kind of look to it. I like using this color on dark elves and vampires especially. Now, if you did use a dark elf with a very blue skin tone, this wouldn't be the best choice for them because it wouldn't give you a lot of contrast. But since this, just for your FYI, this skin tone is the Dusky Skin Triad, which is 9250, 9251, and 9252. So that's the skin tone you get. And the Dusky Skin Triad was always meant to be our second Dark Elf Triad. I just had to name it something else since obviously we'd already used it, and Drow is copyrighted. So Dusky Skin is meant to be a second Dark Elf Triad. And I created it because I noticed a lot of painters, like Derek Schubert, for example, were liking Volcano Brown as a Drow skin color. So I thought I would create a Dark Elf Triad for skin that was a lot like Volcano Brown. So that's why this skin color became a thing. It's a little more neutral and a lot less purple than the original Dark Elf skin. Yeah, the Demon Dorgon was Grenadier. Hello, Jason. It's okay, better late than never, right? That's so true for this show. Thank you, Planner. Thank you for the plug for my Patreon. Actually, I just did a feature on Dark Elf skin over on my Patreon. That's actually why his skin is painted. I showed people what the different Dark Elf triads, some of the different Dark Elf options look like on there. I also showed off a bust that I'm working on. I think I haven't adjusted my audio, so I should be okay. You can hear me okay, right, Justin?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, on my Patreon, it's patreon.com/paintingbig, and I just did a Dark Elf thing for my $2 tier, and one of the things, the bust here, let me show you guys. I'm very proud of this guy. He's turning out really well. So this is the elf bust, and it's from a company called Hera Models from Europe, and he's pretty creepy looking. I'm liking how my dark elf is turning out. But I also was using some of the same kind of colors that I was using here, just a little bit warmer. So, and I do tell the colors that I'm using to paint him also in that PDF for those who are on my Patreon and interested. Alrighty. I have some fun free content on there also, like my random color scheming counter table. So, go over, take a look. And thank you to everybody in this channel who has supported me, by the way. This is my main job right now is the Patreon, and then my sub job is this stream, and I'm doing commissions as well. So trying to make the ends continue to meet, and so far I think I'm doing okay. So I'm just going to take this mold line down because it's annoying me. It says I'm actually going to paint the shoulder pad now. And do as I say, not as I do on this, but be aware that my hobby knife is very dull, so even if I do impact my finger, it's not going to slice it open. I do this on purpose because I know my propensity to use a hobby knife to remove mold lines. There. That's mostly okay. Get a little bit more out there. There we go, that's nice. So mostly I'm just scraping off the mold line. Not trying to actually cut so much. Which is why you can use a dull knife for it. Alright. Let's get some upper part of the shoulder pad base coated. And the metal part. Let me check. Oh, thanks, Gren. Wow, that's a big endorsement. 10 out of 10. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really glad that you like it. Super, super. NMM, yep, you bet, Crispies. It is going to be dark, moody, broody NMM. There we go. I'm just trying to get a base coat on. You could also just, wet blend and just mock up everything all at once if you wanted to. I think that looks like... I can't tell sometimes if this is gauntlet or glove. You just got to make a decision sometimes and just go for it. This bit could be studded leather or it could be steel. I'm seeing some studs up here though, so I'm just going to call it steel and just go with it. Usually the hand is actually a leather glove in this case. She is a priestess, so she can wear heavy armor. So I'm going to give it to her. Just going to do a little bit of base coating back here. There. All right, and we'll do the arm too. Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, Justin's getting some serious work done during stream these days, Planer, because he's got so many streams now. So many giveaways, so many everythings.
Yeah.
So...
But I don't want to let my audience down, so I have no problem talking.
Hey, I have a question for you, Mr. Sexy Voice. You
Go
mentioned
ahead.
you were getting your coffee ready, but I know that you were talking about, or you were considering buying an espresso maker. Did you ever push the button on that?
Oh, no, not yet. I mean, because I had one at one point, and
Yeah.
I think I told you I wore it I wore it out.
Oh,
I made so much
noes.
espresso, it stopped making it. Every time I went to go put another like puck in there, essentially of coffee, it would just leak like crazy. So I guess I could
Aw.
have resealed it,
Yeah.
but I made too much espresso in it.
You
So
broke
I need a
it.
new one. I
Yeah.
did. I broke it. Um, I need a new one. I just haven't gotten one yet because
Gotcha.
my fiance is just hates that we clutter the counters with appliances. It
Yeah.
took a while to convince her to get an air fryer, and she loved that. So
Yeah. Yeah, I was
now I
thinking
just need her
about
to get
that,
that.
but I'm in that camp too. Is we don't like to clutter the counter too much, so whenever a new appliance comes in, we have to choose whether it's going to be a counter appliance. So we're kind of out of storage. Seferico, whoa, wait, I'm losing some stuff here. Questions? Yeah, it's a document cam. It's IPVO. It's the best camera for miniature painting that I've yet found. Although I do have to remember to keep in focus when I'm painting something this small. It's less forgiving with depth of field. Paint numbers Jason Zavoda would be 9250 through 9252. Okay, got
Did
that.
you see that? Collins and Danny are looking at a espresso machine 1 to 2K.
Wow.
I can't get an espresso machine like that. I'm not that kind of. Listen, Collins, we don't all make as much money as you do.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm totally gonna get my blackout while we're talking. But
Even
yeah,
though that sounds amazing, to be
well,
honest, that's
well,
probably going to be
yeah.
a hell of an espresso machine.
True, but I mean, I think the Breville is just is a very solid one, and it's isn't it like 600, 800?
Yeah, I would stand behind Breville because I've had one of their juicers, and that thing, even the blade stayed sharp on it for a really long. Like those things are fantastic.
Yeah, I really
So
like
if
their
they're,
appliances.
yeah, if it's anything like their juicer, then I would take one of those.
Yeah, that's what David bought. And so far, it's been very good. It's a little persnickety. You have to make sure you've got your grounds well pressed down, like to brew good espresso, just like any machine. But
Okay.
yeah, because the quality of your espresso is apparently due to how much, how little steam you're letting through the grounds. So you do have to get everything pressed down very well. He says otherwise it doesn't taste as good, but he's pretty good at it. So. Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, he's had no complaints, and he said he pretty much would die without it at this point if he bought it right before quarantine hit, so he would be a sad person if he had to walk out for his coffee every morning.
But you at least would get a walk. Also, fun Justin fact about espresso.
Mm-hmm.
Until I was about 18, I called it espresso.
Oh no.
Like I added an X in there because I thought there was an X.
I think a lot of people say it kind of like that, and that confuses the issue if you're not used to seeing it actually typed. I'm just going to line with my pure black here, about around the plates now. I want to get a heavy shadow in. This is almost the only time I would do a pure black shadow on anything, by the way, guys. Would be like NMM, steel NMM, particularly, not gold. Gold NMM, I always use brown, usually. Almost always use brown is the better phrasing for that. But, yeah, so let's see. Yeah, I have a Breville tea maker, and mine has lasted for forever. Ziwo. Actually, I went through one. It took me like 6 years to blow through a Breville tea maker using it every day. So it was very good. Mine just quit Sephiroco. Like mine stopped. Its motor died, I think, after 6 years. 6 years of intensive use, and sometimes I would use it twice a day. So it definitely stood up to it, though. Those Breville's a good company. Like, their appliances really seem to be very good quality. Little skull here. Just gonna outline him. Very hard trying to keep in focus for you guys here. Yeah, I've got an extra one. I mean, I bought another one, but now I don't drink as much tea, because I just don't sleep great if I have too much caffeine during the day. So it's okay. It's kind of a backup. If David ever switches over to tea for a while, which he's talked about, then we'll start using that tea maker maybe, or maybe for herbal tea. We both like herbal tea in the evening sometimes. All
I may be a
right.
little odd in this circumstance, but every time I have tea that's hot, I don't think it's possible to oversteep it personally for me.
Really?
And I say
Oh,
that because, yeah, I will actually leave the tea bag in it or whatever, like in this case, even if it's the loose leaf tea, I'll leave it in there till I'm done drinking it.
oh wow. Ugh. I couldn't stand the tanniny bitterness you get from that.
Yeah, I don't, it's just not, maybe it's the quality of the tea I'm using, that's possible, but I mean, I've bought some pretty nice loose leaf tea that I really enjoyed, but yeah, and I just really like it strong. But it's the same thing with my coffee. Like, to be fair, I can't get espresso strong enough, you know?
Ah, weird. So Justin has totally blown out his taste buds, guys. That's what we should take away from this.
Yeah, now that I think about it, when it comes to beverages, that may be the case.
Well, and the other thing is, I mean, if you drink like lattes or espresso without sweetener, you get used to bitterness as a profile, I think, a flavor profile. Whereas I have such a sweet tooth that I really can't stand it. And when I was drinking coffee, I had to douse it with cream and sugar. Like I had a little coffee with my cream and sugar, if you know what you mean. Know what I mean? So I never got used to that bitter taste. Like it is, my taste buds are really sensitive to bitter, and they don't like it. So
So I'm kind of weird when it comes to that. Like with regular coffee, just like drip or coffee press coffee or Chemex coffee, whatever, I actually like to add lots of cream and sugar. But when I have espresso, especially if it's good espresso with good coffee, I'll drink it straight up pretty regularly. Um, because at that point, I don't know, I tend to prefer the strength of the coffee.
wow, that's so weird. Yeah, I guess I just have a horrible sweet tooth, and so it really turns me off with the bitter.
No,
Everybody's
I
a little bit
understand.
different, so everybody's got different. Let me switch on my overhead light here, guys, and see if I can. There we go. Let's do that so you can see the lining. I didn't want to blow out things, but this is actually doing okay. So there's got a little collar up here at the top of this plate, and I don't want to. I want to line a little bit underneath the head.
Yeah, that's right, no Medzik. It either has to be really strong espresso or coffee flavored sugar milk. But I'm with you there, and because like I can't have regular like, especially with like Chemex coffee where it's really light.
Uh huh.
I don't. Maybe it's I don't like to drink just hot water, and I don't want it to taste like that.
Mm-hmm.
So often I will just turn it into the sweet tooth sugar milk stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like Puerti Seferico. That's one of my faves. All right, let's see here. Ah, I'm losing it. My paint got a little too thick on my brush and it wouldn't come off. So if you ever are trying to draw a fine line with your brush and you're finding it difficult to get paint off the brush, it's not just you. It just means your paint is too thick, and so it's resisting it's not flowing correctly. And that happens a lot with smaller brushes or thinner brushes. So that's a troubleshooting thing for you. Do a little bit more lining. Got a little thick on my
Oh,
line on the other side. Yeah.
I also have a particular weakness for, the hazelnut coffee mate creamer stuff that's not even real creamer.
Oh, yeah, I
I
used
have,
to.
yeah, that's kind of my kryptonite.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Because it's not good. Like I prefer heavy cream and then like what other extra natural flavor additives you want to have. It just creates a better overall cup of coffee.
Right.
But but there's just something about some good old cheap hazelnut coffee mate
Uh
that, fun fact, until recently I didn't realize had zero dairy in it.
yeah.
It's basically
It's
just
a
all
non-dairy
sugar and
creamer.
like
Yep.
correct.
Yep. Hold on, let me adjust my seat here, guys. I am using a kneeling chair because it helps my back. But I do have to readjust on occasion. I ordered a new one. This is like David's old one, and it's definitely on its last leg. So hopefully that will get here shortly. All right, so there we go. So I'm pretty much putting a heavy shadow all on the underside of this plate here because it's all going to be in shadow when the light is coming from above. So you can see how that kind of gives it a more dramatic look already just by putting this heavy black shadow on the underside. And I don't have to worry really about blending it. It's all just going to be in shadow naturally. So you don't have to worry about making it a blended line at this point. There. All right. Let's see here. Oh yeah, the pumpkin spice. I had some pumpkin spice tea from Sprouts, but then this year they didn't make it. They did something else instead that I didn't like. Peppermint, I think. I didn't like it nearly as much. So I hope this year Sprouts goes back and makes their pumpkin spice black tea because it was tasty. Because dairy I can't really do anymore, and Starbucks is also expensive. So I'm just like, yeah.
Whoa there, Sephiroco. I'm gonna need a link to that almond milk creamer you're talking about because that sounds
Oh,
amazing.
tastes like Lucky Charms. Oh my god.
I'll take 7, please.
I'm not that bad. I like I really like coconut milk creamer in my tea these days. I just use the plain one, not the flavored one, because usually my tea is flavored, and so I don't want to add another flavor to that. So, because I usually have vanilla spice tea, and so I don't want more on top of that. I just want the flavor of the tea. Just doing my lining here. Let's continue with our lining.
Also, Miss Anne,
Yeah.
which does remind me, did you manage to get out to the beach this weekend and get some
Oh, we
sun and stuff?
actually we didn't. I didn't feel like we had planned sufficiently, and I was really worried about the like COVID response. There were the beaches were closed, and there was some talk about only being open to local traffic. So essentially, we didn't go this weekend, but I did do a bunch of research, and we have a painter friend who's down in Santa Cruz, which is where we were thinking of going. And she actually told me what the current rules were and confirmed that we could come down. So, because I didn't want to drive all that, that 45-minute drive with Kiri and then have cops essentially checking IDs at the beach, which is what they were previously doing. If you weren't local, they told you to go home. So, they are no longer doing that. So now I know we can go down. So, we are going to go next Saturday morning. The beaches are, instead of barring everybody from the beaches in Santa Cruz, what they're doing is limiting the times the beaches are open. And they're limiting it to times that people will be more likely to be out walking on the beach and not wanting to sit on the beach. So, like, it's open until 11 a.m. and then it reopens at 6 p.m.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, so essentially they're discouraging the sunbathers and the people who are just there to sit. And the beach is still open for surfing because apparently Santa Cruz people are crazy about their surfing, and there would be riots if you tried to prevent that. But so it's still open if you want to go in the water during the day, but if you are there to sit, you will be asked to leave. So yeah, but walking my dog is perfectly legal. So Kiri will get to see the ocean next week.
Awesome. Make sure you wear sunscreen. I
Yeah.
say that because my fiance spent Saturday poolside at her parents' house because it was a nice hot day here. And she, from basically her chest up,
Mm-hmm.
looks like an actual lobster.
Yeah.
She is super, super, super dark and bright, I guess, red. It's pretty awful.
Yeah, I've been like that once before. When I went to Florida as a kid, I got lobstered. It was the most painful experience. So I'm sorry, McKaylee. You have my feels, all the feels. I'm gonna get a
I'll let her
highlight.
know.
Yes, yes, yeah. Because I also am super fair skinned, so I will burn like to a crisp. But yeah, we have sunscreen, so and we're gonna be there early. We're gonna be there before, like we have to go before 11 if we're gonna walk the dog. So, um, that means I'll probably only be there around 10, which won't be too bad. Hard to get super sunburned at 10 a.m.
That you're not wrong. It is. Assuming you're, not out for like hours.
Yeah, we're only going to be there. Kiri being old and all that, she really can't walk around for forever before she really feels it in the evening. So we're going to just go for an hour and let her see the ocean and see if she'll actually go in the water, and take a short walk and just get out of the house pretty much. And then we will return to our abode. Yeah, I've had that happen to me too, Margaret. When I was driving to Origins one year, my arm got sunburned, my car arm. Yeah. Well, lucky your sister, Sifrico. Those people, I don't know. I don't know about those people who just tan effortlessly. All right, so we mixed a highlight. I grabbed like 4 brushfuls of our original mix and added a drop of white. I want to start kind of thinking about where my highlights are going to go. I'm going to start kind of blocking in lighter areas that I know are going to be a thing. Here, I probably also want to decide what side my light is really coming from. I might do this side and do a shadow on this side because this breastplate here has a line kind of down the middle where it tents up and then down. When you've got that, you really have to kind of pick a side that is going to be lighter and catching the light, and a side that's darker. It's going to give you the best visual effect. So I think I'm going to go light on this left side, which is not my usual side, but I think I'll do that. And that allows you to make some contrast that makes NMM work. NMM only works if you have like really bright lights, really dark shadows, and have them kind of close together in places. And the brightest highlight really should be next to a dark shadow. So in this case, it's easy because let me mix up some white actually and get there. Dinged my water cup. Where's the pure white? There it is. So you want to go to pure white, you want to go to almost pure black, or you just very close. You go to a very dark gray if you're going to do NMM. But you need that contrast. Blue liner is also an acceptable dark, obviously, if you're doing blue like this. But you need that contrast, or it's going to look like stone. It's not going to look like NMM. Let me get my white all mixed up here. Yeah. Yeah, sunburn stories. Owie, owie, owie. That's all I'm saying. Let me see. I may have thinned this a little bit too much, but I do want it pretty thin because I want it to come off on a thin line. Here's a note. If you want to be able to draw really thin lines or hit really thin edges on a miniature, thin your paint. Thin paint, thin line. That's the way it goes. And thin brush. Thin paint, thin brush, thin line. If you have thick paint and you're trying to do this, it's going to be a lot easier to be neat about it. But if you have thin paint, it's going to come off your brush really easily, and it's going to be a lot easier to get a really fine line, really elegant line, where you need it. So I'm also going to have probably a high highlight here, up on that shoulder pad.
Oh, you know that sunburn, by the way, that I got? I think it
Yeah.
was last week, Miss Ann.
Yeah.
Turns out it was really just a dark tan. So you know how frustrating that was for McKaylee. Since
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
basically very fair skinned,
Uh-huh.
I got lucky enough to get the right amount of exposure to just get a tan.
Nice. Yeah, that usually happens to me if I'm like in the shade somewhere where the sun is really strong. Like when I was a teenager, my parents took my brother and I on a family cruise and down to the Panama Canal. So really much more equatorial. And I would sit there and almost burn in the shade. Like I couldn't be out at noon at all. But if I was out, when it wasn't quite so strong, I could actually tan in the shade. So that's it's just weird.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Just the indirect sun alone would bake me. Apparently, it would bake me to just the right level where it wouldn't go overboard.
But as you get a tan, does it allow you to at least go out in the sun a little more without as much of a consequence?
I will burn over a tan. It'll just get ruddy. It'll get to be a very ruddy
Uh,
tan. Yeah, so just real sensitive to it. And I always forget too. Like I constantly, I'm not out much during times of strong sun, but when I have been, like I'm trying to do more hiking now. Like I really want to as things open up. I really want to do more hiking. So it's like I'm gonna have to remember because otherwise I'm gonna burn the heck out of myself, and I really don't want that. My mom is one of those easy tan individuals, and she seems to have given it to my brother as well. So I can love them and hate them a little bit both.
Did you ever have any, as a kid, did you ever have any incredibly severe sunburns?
That was the Florida trip that to Sanibel.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Oh my God, that was so hurty. Like that was honestly like really feeling terrible because you also feel like kind of a little ill usually if you do that to yourself, and so feeling kind of sick and lying in bed and constantly aloing myself for 8 hours was not fun. Um,
Yeah, I've been there.
yeah,
That's man, have I.
yeah. So that's yeah. I'd rather avoid that. There we
Have you
go.
ever had
So let me
any
do
blisters
this.
or anything?
No, not wait, maybe once. One sunburn blister. And it was actually the car arm that I was mentioning to Margaret when I was driving to Origins when you're from the East Coast and my arm just got in the sun for hours and hours and hours because it's a good, 12-hour drive. So all morning because I started early and then all into the afternoon and I actually did get a small blister from just driving.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of nuts.
Yeah, when I was about 10, my parents and I went camping, and I think I was pretty young. Actually, I think I was younger than 10. I would have been about like 7 or 8, and we went camping, and I woke up the next morning, and my parents didn't get out of the tent. They just stayed sleeping basically,
Uh-huh.
and I went and played because we were camped right at the water's edge where our boat was, because my
Uh-huh.
parents at one point had a pontoon boat.
Oh,
Um, that lasted all of 2 months, but that's a different story.
yes.
Anyway, so I'm playing in this water, right, and it's in direct sun from probably 9 a.m. till I guess when they decided that I was out there and that neither one of them had put sunscreen on me till about probably 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Oh dear.
And I'm not kidding. I had giant, like palm-sized blisters all over my face.
Oh, yuck.
My face was the most, and what's worse is I had to go to school like that. And you try
Oh.
explaining to kids why you've basically they can't see your skin like outside of your eyes because it's just giant blisters,
Oh my.
and it was pretty rough. I'm thankful today though I don't have any like lasting effects from it yet, but that was the worst by far. And since then I've been terrified of some real sunburns,
Owie.
to be
Yeah.
completely honest with you.
Oh yeah. That would be a lasting impression on your psyche too, because it happened when you were a kid. So
Yeah,
that's how we really
but th-
sco. Yeah, go ahead.
that's crazy to me though because I didn't have any other like I think I had some on the top of my shoulders, but the rest of my body was fine. It was just in the most sensitive, miserable places you can imagine,
Uh-huh.
and that was it.
Nature
So
was teaching you a lesson.
as a young kid, and it did a damn good job.
Yeah. Oh, Dogfather, sunburn on the scalp. I get that so often because I'll remember, to do stuff elsewhere, but then I'll be out without a hat and I will totally get scalp sunburn. I hate that.
Yeah, it's a must for me to wear a hat because I'm bald. So
Oh yeah, you.
otherwise, that's the quickest way to end up with malignant melanoma, per my grandfather, that is.
Ah, yeah. I don't know. They say that as you get older, you're less apt, but I don't know if that's science or
Oh,
if I
really?
just read it somewhere. Yeah, like that it's more when you're a kid. If you get severely sunburned, you've got that raises your risk more than if you get severely sunburned as an adult.
Ah,
But I'm not certain if that's real science or if that's me recollecting reading something and who
well,
knows.
in fairness, I guess in his circumstance, I think he wasn't wrong purely from the standpoint that he went into the military and served in the Vietnam War basically for like 5 straight years,
Ah,
and I know, right? Like, and he basically was over there almost the entire time, which is crazy to me. Um, he just kept going back for more and more tours. But anyway, he was about 18 or 19, and that entire time, he said he never wore a shirt or a hat if he didn't have to. So unless they were marching somewhere, he didn't wear a shirt or a hat,
wow.
and they didn't wear sunscreen either.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah. Yeah, people forget to do their ears. You're right. My hair usually goes down over my ears, but not perfectly. So, yeah, it's a hazardous world out there. So, what I'm doing here, guys, just to keep cluing you in as I slowly work on this elf, since there's a crease down the front of this plate, there is not a sculpted crease down the front of either of these plates, but I want it to look like similar armor. I want it to match because there are creases everywhere up here. So I actually am putting a fake crease in by making a lighter side and a darker side. Oh, Meebwin, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. 8 months. Rock on. Super. Mark another sub down for us, Justin. Whew, all right. Oh, I've got a little tiny bit of armor showing there, and now I'm going to put a little line down, like a kind of like the line that I put up here. I just want to emphasize the optical illusion of that. And what helps me create this optical illusion, although you can do it on almost anything, is the fact that this is a triangular plate. So naturally, you can extrapolate that there's a crease there. Otherwise, these plates are very flat, and so I'm just kind of like, what am I going to do there? But if I do this highlight thing, then I can make them look more interesting and add to the NMM effect too, because highlighting a flat plate with NMM is a lot harder than doing this crease. So I'm making it easy on myself, in short. I'm cheating. I'm using paint plastic surgery to make the model work.
Zambies.
We have a Zambies. Poof! A wild Zambies appears. Oh, Francis, thanks with the Twitch Prime. 4 months.
Yes, thank you, Francis. Remember, a sub for the show is a vote for the show. But also, you are not required to spend money to support the channel. No. Just watching us is important. And even more so if you want to hit the follow button up in the top right and turn that little bell on so that when we go live, hopefully Twitch notifies you. It's not always accurate.
Twitch can sometimes get a little bit wonky about that, but sometimes it will actually tell you that we're live. Although, as Justin and I were discussing earlier, our shows are timed very predictably, and the only time that would change is if we cancel them outright. So you pretty much are guaranteed, though we sometimes start a few minutes late on our schedule, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a stream on schedule with us.
Also, which reminds me, the Wednesday afternoon show with Josh is likely to be canceled because he's moving.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I'm not entirely certain what the plans are for it because I'm not entirely certain that he won't actually be able to do it just yet.
Right, yeah.
I'll know closer to time, but...
Weren't we going to pass that show around to other people anyway? Like, wasn't that kind of a show?
Correct. It's technically, I'm going to use this opportunity to kind of bring it back down, and it's going to go under construction because I'm going to rebrand it a little bit.
Yeah.
So, doesn't mean we can't have someone stream potentially Wednesday afternoon, but it won't be under what we had been doing for a while, because those were just the bonus streams that he was doing for us. But Reaper Toolbox proper will be coming back in kind of a different
format
facet.
Yeah. Francis, it should tell you all whenever we go live for any show, so it should remind you with Reaper Live and all the other Reaper-y things that we do. It'll just tell you that we went live. It won't necessarily tell you which show, in my experience, but it'll tell you that it'll tell you the topic of the show when we go live. Or it should. If you follow us.
Yeah, it's supposed to be all of the shows. I have been told that, I don't know if this is a bug or how this works, but the more shows that or the more channels that you follow and the more notifications you have for those channels, the more likely it is to drown out some of those notifications.
Oh, I see.
So I imagine
because it doesn't want to spam
email notifications. Right. I imagine it sends email notifications based on a cooldown period, kind of like the bot, where it may be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. But if you have multiple people that go online within 20, 30 minutes of each other, you may only get a couple of those notifications. So if you only want the ones from Reaper, I would limit the other notifications you have. Not to tell you to unnotify those channels. However, if you want the Reaper ones, you may have to turn off the bell icon for other shows. Yeah. You don't have to unfollow them, just turn off the bell icon.
All right. A little bit of a highlight there. We're coming along here. We're starting to look a bit more like metal. I need more black because I got a little messy on that plate over here. The nice thing about this dark NMM is it's easy to touch up, unlike with silver or lighter steel. It's a little more forgiving to do the dark steel. And now I want some black to put a line in, because remember, we need dark next to light in order to get the illusion of shininess.
You know what? That's okay, Jacob. I hear that that lame-o doesn't even stream all the time anyway. You can mute that. Thank you, Jacob. It's too early for that crap.
Yay, it's Give Justin Crap Day. If I would have known it was that day, then I would have come more prepared. More highly caffeinated.
Yeah, I hear if you unfollow Reaper John entirely, it fixes all your other alerts. So I would probably just try that just to be safe.
You guys are so funny. So I'm putting in a dark line next to my bright line here, and then I'm going to blend it in with my blue, which isn't too hard once it's dried. And that will make us look a little more shiny as we progress. Also want to straighten up this line, so I'm doing that with my black. All right. And I want to make sure I have a dark line on the other side of this breastplate for the same reason. And my black's a little thick, so I'm actually going to drop a little water in it. It's easier to blend in your black lines when you're working with a dark blue like this. Indeed. Oh, lots of hellos. Lots of prep. How are the preparations going for ReaperCon? I must assume they are going.
Yeah, they're moving along.
How are Justin? How are? Do you know how they're going to do the classes? Like how many classes they're going to
We
do?
we have kind of a groundwork for that solution. It's not confirmed because even though we are making great strides, none of it could be set in stone because when we have our big meetings, those could be the determining meetings on what we use and what we don't use.
Right.
So one thing John and I have had to kind of collaborate with each other on is to keep each other from doing too many large sweeping decisions
Yeah.
because you don't want to invest that much time when a good chunk of it, if not all of it, could change.
Right.
Therefore, invalidating all the time you spent.
Right.
Just because we have to kind of test stuff. So
Right.
I would say that the short answer for your question would be we have something. I don't want to say what it is yet.
All right. All right. Yeah, I was wondering just because obviously we don't have as many quote unquote classrooms, right? So we're kind of limited unless we can get more classrooms that people can teach it like the same time. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, we are taking into consideration that we're not. We do want multiple classrooms running at once.
Right.
We don't want this to just be one class at a time, essentially through Twitch, because that's not practical. It's not even practical with 6 other channels. We need this to exist much like it would in real life, where there could be as much as X number of classes running, and then we highlight one of them, and that's the one that's on Twitch and that's being broadcast essentially. But that's kind of a formatting thing. Once again, that could change. So.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Cool. Just trying to keep on top of things. Gonna accentuate my highlight toward the top and toward the angle, toward the center, because that's where my highlight line is. My sharp demarcation line is, and I'm getting a little bit of paint not wanting to come off my brush, so I'm going to put a little bit more water in it. Remember, that's how you deal with that. You're trying to do a fine line, and your brush is like, no, it just means your paint's too thick. Hold on, let me adjust my seat. Adjusting seat. I do find that with the kneeling chair, I do need to do some adjustment throughout the stream of how I'm sitting throughout any time I'm painting. But in general, it helps my hips and my back a lot. So I bit the bullet and ordered a fancy one, which actually is work or tax deductible since I am mostly making my money from painting. Well, pretty much completely making my money from painting at this point. So I'm going to do some little highlights here where the shoulder pad comes down just to catch that detail and differentiate it from this area here. Gonna get these little rivets a little bit. They're kind of on the underside, but I can make them catch a little bit of light just to pick them out. So we're getting our little rivets. I do need to blend in this highlight quite a bit.
Uh-oh. Can you still hear me, Ann?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think my stream kind of went. Okay, there we go. Oop. Oh, the bitrate looks like it's tanking. Hold on.
Oh, weird, because it's okay on my end.
You're not dropping frames or anything?
Nope, OBS says I'm peachy.
Yeah, your output to restream seems to have hobbled a little bit. In fact, now it says it's offline.
Oh, noes. Do you want me to
But
restart?
no. I think you're back now. Yeah, you're back. So
Okay,
that
good.
means that I think you're either Twitch died for a second or your internet died for a second. One of the
Oh,
two
okay.
things.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes, it looks like it's back up. Bitrate screen, and it looks like Restream is getting a feed again.
Yeah. Okay, good. So Balsacious, yeah, kneeling chair. It's a weird contraption that I never tried before now. But I got to try it since David has one, and I was having some hip issues, and it fixed them like almost like I'd say within 36 hours of starting the kneeling chair. It fixed my hip issues that I was having. So like my hip likes to pop a bit and lock up sometimes, and I have not had that problem since I switched to this chair. So I ordered myself a brand new one. They're supposed to be good for your posture in general. I do find that it keeps me my posture better, and it's probably its biggest downside. Um, is for me is that my knees will eventually hurt just a little bit, just because I'm kneeling. I'm at an incline, so my full weight isn't on my knees. But I still feel that sometimes I actually put my legs out in front of me and sit on it like it's a real chair, and I kind of swap back and forth between those, and then I find it pretty comfortable. I usually forget that I'm on it because it can keep me my posture good. It also puts me lower to my table relative to my table, which is actually good for me because then I'm not doing this, right? I might do a bit, I might lean a little bit, but I'm not really leaning. I'm not putting a lot of strain on my lower back. So that level is also a good thing for me. So yeah, they're interesting. I would definitely try one out before you bought it. Because from what I hear with the cheap ones, it's really is what you get what you pay for, and a cheap kneeling chair could just be bad. I opted for one of the nicer ones, but only because I knew that it was helping me. So some people really don't get mileage out of it, and some do. So I would say, yeah, your mileage may vary. Try one for a couple days if you've got chronic pain. Can help with hips, back, knees a little bit, depending. I don't know, Balsacious. You'd have to look that up because I mean I've seen them up to 260, but that's not real big. So you might have to like just Google heavy duty kneeling chair and see if they make one. I'm sure some of them are steel, so I'm pretty sure that you could get one if you're like one of those big guys. I know I have a friend who's like 6'4" and over 300, and he definitely is persnickety about his chairs. So most chairs are not built for big guys or big anybody's. All right, that little plate there is really giving me trouble because it's right near that rivet. Yeah, no problem. It's not like nothing is a magic bullet when it comes to fixing your functionation, your skeletal muscular function problems. If you're like when I was overweight, I had a lot of them, and a lot of them stayed with me even after I lost the weight. But I find they're a lot easier, a lot easier to adjust for. So nothing is a magic bullet. I do physical therapy exercises in the evening also, and that plus kneeling chair pretty much keeps me in. I don't really notice much pain, the kind of pain that I used to get or aches that I used to get. No. But I did have a period where I put my back out pretty bad, and that's when I got the physical therapist. So that has definitely helped. All right, so we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. See, starting to look like metal here. Error message from Twitch. Refreshed, everything came back. Twisted Oma. That's a good tip. I'm going to blend this in because really I've just put a white line here. You can see that they're very stark. So let's take our highlight color and kind of blend that in a bit. We get a little bit blendy. I can actually, since my paint is thinned, I can actually paint it right over that white highlight line and it will help to blend it in. So that's kind of like using underpainting. Essentially, I put a white line down where I want my highlight to be, and then I use my highlight color and I kind of paint over that line. But my paint is a little thin, so it doesn't completely lose that line, and instead I get the effect of more of a gradient. You see it on that second plate right here. So you can utilize that. Same thing up here, I did this sharp highlight on the edge, and if I want to do, say, a little bit of a stronger one all across the top of the plate, maybe even on the back side of the plate there. So let's say I sketch in that highlight there, and then I take my highlight color here that's actually still pretty much a dark blue, and I paint it over the top of that. I can bring that highlight down and bring a highlight up at the same time. So I can get more of a blended appearance there. So it's not hard to get. There's some tricks there to get you get your blending in line. However, I feel like I need a little bit brighter, so I'm actually gonna, while it's still wet, I'm gonna bring in my white and do a little bit of wet blending, which is another good fast speed blending technique. There, now I have a nice light top of that shoulder pad. There, that looks really nice right there. Yeah, for Bones Black, they're quite sharp, actually. I mean, you can see how nice and sharp the armor is coming up now that I'm getting it under control here. So what I am missing, though, is I'm missing a tiny white highlight right on... There's this little plate. There's these little plates on both sides. I need to get a little bit of a light highlight here and blend that up to make these sections all stand out. So, because that little section is different from this collar section that's a little bit over it. So, grab my dark blue, give us a little highlight, little tiny brush strokes. So to have your paint come off your brush when you're using a brush that's this thin, you really need to have thinner paint. And I mean serious thinner paint. Like at least, I don't know if I'm at 1:1. I might be at 1.5 to 1 on this paint here. Although blues tend to be a little more transparent, so it could be, it could be even a 1:1, actually. It's pretty thin. But the moral of the story is you want the paint to be very watery if you want it to come off your brush really, really easily in very, very thin or small areas. So let's see, I'm going to put that in there. Bring this up a little bit more here. And then I want to put in to make this really look correct. I need to add in not only the dark shadows over here, but I also need a reflection. So metal is two things. It is shiny, which is why we're doing dark shadows right next to bright highlights, but it's also reflective. So after you've set up your main highlight area here, you have to remember there's light bouncing back up. If the light is coming here this way, then there's light that's going to hit the ground here and bounce back up at the model. And so we grab some of our highlight. We don't go up as high as here, but we still put a highlight on this opposing edge. And that is going to create the illusion that light is bouncing, and that is the reflection. And that's what makes it look like metal. Shiny and reflective. Two factors. And you should ask yourself when you're doing a surface, kind of these questions. Is how reflective is this surface, right? Am I doing something that's really shiny, like ceramic or polished lacquer or whatever, various types of armor? Then I probably need to remember that my highlights are going to act more like NMM. Whereas if I'm doing something like a soft cloth, I'm not going to get that. Not going to have to worry about under reflections or anything. Or bounce light. Bounce light is all the rage lately. I see a lot of people using bounce light in busts, especially to bring in. They'll do a bright highlight and dark shadow, and then they'll bring in some different colored light or something in a bounced highlight. There, so a little bit of highlight there, a little bit of highlight there. I want a little bit lighter here, because I want to bring out the detail there because we're getting close to the belt. That's pretty good. Need to bring in my highlight a little stronger here again because I wiped it out when I was Ah, oh no, a blorf. Okay, so the way to grab a blorf is right away to grab some water and scrub off your blorf. And if you're not fast, then you just gotta repaint it. But if you're fast, you can sometimes scrub the blorf off. Oh, my blorf is... Oh, I didn't catch it quite fast enough. It left a little outline. So I will need to grab just a little bit of my dark blue and wipe out that little blorf. Blorf is a technical term. Let me blow on it and dry it off a little, and then I can wipe that out. There we go. It's much better. Alrighty, excellent. So that looks good. That's looking really good now. See how that little bit of reflection really changed it, huh? It's like now it's really looking like it's shiny. Yeah, white blorfs are totally hard. You're right, Althai. They are. That's actually why. Do you know why? Okay, so old school story for you, but that's why Jennifer Haley liked using Vallejo white, and why I used it for a while too. Like even when we were switching to other paints, we still would use pure white from Vallejo because Vallejo doesn't adhere very well, and so it was far easier to remove if you blorfed it. It would stay soft for longer. It wouldn't cure nearly as hard, so you could, especially if you thinned it. So what Jen would often do, and other painters were doing this as well at the time, is they would map in freehand with it. Because if they screwed up, it didn't matter if it was dry. You could just take a brush full of water and scrub it right off, especially if you put down a layer of dull coat first. So if you put a layer of sealer and then you thinned a paint that had not very good adhesion, you could make it essentially give yourself an eraser. For a while they were calling dull coat the eraser for that reason. I thought it was funny. These days I just move fast. Blorf! Francis, it's anywhere you put a paint stroke that you don't mean. Blorf means I'm trying to do a line here, instead I do a blob. So that's a blorf. However, a blorf doesn't have to be a blob. It could be a line or a otherwise... Yep, that's a blorf too. I overdid it. Usually it's overdoing it. Usually blorf is overdoing it. Or getting a really rough or big when you're trying to do a fine line or detail. So... that's a little bit too bright for a reflection. There. Yes, blorfs. Blorfs are the bane of our existence. You're right. You are absolutely right, Sephiroth. Now we should have somebody design what a blorf actually looks like. It would be some small, malignant Pokemon type creature.
So we have by the way, as a little bit of an announcement, we have a couple of new emotes here.
Oh, yeah?
Although on my end, they don't look to be actually displaying what they are.
Oh, no.
It just has the I guess the code for them essentially.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if other people are able to see them or if they're able to use them. But this is all in. Oh, stream froze. Hold on.
Oh, noes. Yeah, it's still not saying bad on my side. Maybe Denton. Maybe it's Denton. I am gonna say that it's Denton acting up because I left.
It's sabotaging our internet. Okay, I think it's back now.
All right. Yeah, we do need a blorf emoji, Alpha. I am all for that. Yeah, and oops isn't as fun to say as blorf though, Francis. Blorf is just what you say. It's like, who says oops when they do that, right? No, it's much too mild in blorf. Blorf just sounds so disappointed. Yep.
These new emotes are thanks to Trashorama, so thank you again,
yay! Trash, you were so good with that stuff. I love people who can make those tiny little graphics look good at that scale. It's just something that I never quite wrap my head around. Just making a highlight here on the arm. This is a cylinder, so we're going about it a little bit differently. We still need our highlight, and we still need our under reflection and our shadow, but this is a different curved and rounded surface, so I'm curving it a little bit myself. Oh, okay, yes. Well, you can use oops if you want. I just always think oops sounds kind of cute, whereas blorf is like blorf. It really sounds like what it is. I like onomatopoeia. Twitch is being Twitch again. Image of betrayal. Yes. Yes, indeed. Hey, Daffodil. Good to see you. Yeah, it just seems to be coming and going with the buffering and all that. Weird. All right, so put a little dark shadow underneath that glove here. Not showing up because I'm using a very dark blue, but it's there, trust me.
Oh, there's the new emotes.
There we go. Oh, there they are. Oh, I like the bomb. Oh, wait, we didn't get a giant spoon yet?
You know, we're still working on it.
Oh, okay. Well, we should get a
Although a
blorf.
blorf emoji wouldn't be bad either. So
Yeah, a
we
blorf would be
we have
awesome.
several spots.
Yeah, well, and blorf just needs to be a blob of paint, right? It needs to be a big blotch. Maybe a purple blotch, because, you know, I prefer purple, but, you know, some people don't. Some people prefer different blorfs. Unfortunately, a white blorf would not show up too well. I'm putting in our under reflection here now, because there's going to be bounce light coming back up from the environment. And remember, you don't want it as bright as your primary highlight ever, but you can go close if the light is strong. You have to kind of be asking yourself what kind of environment the figure is in. And be consistent with that. I'm going to add a little tiny bit of highlight. The other thing is there's always that compromise between stylism and realism where you really do need to highlight somewhere to bring out something, bring out a detail, say out here. It's okay to make that little compromise as long as it doesn't look too weird. Because you can always say it's just bounce light or it's, you know, it's this, that, or the other thing. If it looks wrong, then yeah, try to find another way to tackle that. But I think I can get away with a little tiny highlight there to bring out the edge of this gauntlet. All right, so this is not looking too bad. Not looking too bad. Pretty good dark bluish steel armor. Pretty sharp. Pretty sharp. I gotta work more on the shoulder pad though. The shoulder pad is such a nice detail, and I've definitely not nailed it there. So I'm gonna continue to work on that. Let's see. What do we got here? You can hear me, but the screen is frozen. Try to refresh Twisted Oma. It's working for some. Thanks for the painting. Big on there, Jacob Jansen. Putting my dragon near the raid head. That's funny. The Reaper head of the raid. I do like the bomb. So what's the bomb from or for? Like, who got the bomb?
It's an F bomb.
Oh, it's an F-bomb! Oh my! I have yet, I think, to screw up on stream and drop one of those. When I do these, I very much have my paint club brain on, which is, you know, family friendly. So I definitely have a button I flip in my brain when I'm somewhere public and painting and talking so that I do not drop an accidental F-bomb. I'm just doing a little bit there. Okay, I really have to go up and deal with this shoulder pad, though. Deal with the shoulder pad. Okay, now it's getting better. I just needed to make the highlights more... Good morning, Balrog. Good morning. Yes. We are painting. Oh, I wanted to thank you guys, too. That reminds me. I wanted to really thank you for the awesome AMA on Friday. For those who didn't see it, it should be archived on Twitch, and it should be on our YouTube. But we had a lot of fun, and I answered a lot of questions, and you guys asked some really good questions. I had a lot of fun helping you and answering stuff and talking about things, and I came off of that stream in a really happy mood, so I just wanted to thank you all. It was a good Friday stream. Yeah, professionals is just so long, though. I don't know if you could make it in an emoji, no Mezik. Maybe we need to make it more of a logo. We make it the Reaper Live logo, Justin. The professionals with a slash through it.
Yeah, no, I mean we need to. I was actually just talking to Trash about it, and it's, you know, we're working through some stuff. I might end up, if we can't put it in an emoji that's creative, that makes sense because it's so, you know, obviously it's a big word.
It's long, yeah.
It is, and if we can't put it in there somewhere, we might, I don't know, we might brand it somewhere. Yes. Maybe on Reaper Live even.
Yeah, not professionals. Yeah, you can have it pop up every time Ed and Ron are like not professional. In which case you are going to leave it up pretty much 24/7.
Basically, it becomes a watermark at that point.
Yeah, the not professionals watermark. So just adding some more light here.
You could do a suit and tie with a cross.
Oh, that would be cute. That would be really, really cute.
I like that idea, Francis.
Yeah, great one, Francis. Yes. Cute. I'm all for cute. Cute makes Anne happy. That's why I surround myself with cute things. That's why I have a Princess Unikitty Lego playset on my painting desk here, keeping me company. There. All right. So that's looking, I think yeah, that's transmitting a lot better now. That's looking a lot better. I think I need a little bit more up here. Catching the light, because the light would be caught, because this projects out in front of her a fair bit. That's looking all right. What do you guys think? Looking like it's pretty sharp. Now, it is really flat, because we've only used the blue and black and white. So it doesn't have a lot of other colors in it. So one way that we could make this more visually interesting is to add a different color in the shadows, or just a little bit more color in the bounce light reflection, for example. Like if I did like a dark magenta, like say I did Succubus Kiss for the cloth, I could probably bring some pink up, mix this Succubus Kiss with white, and bring it up a little bit into this under reflection. So that's one way you can show that, you can add some interest into the metal if it looks too flat to you. Another reason, I mean, this is why people do weathering, right? Rust effects in dirt, is because it lets you bring in reds, oranges, yellows, browns into armor that might be, just blue and white steel or silver, really just light gray, and make it more visually interesting. So right now we're very stylized. We're also very clean. So some people, if you don't want clean, then think about ways that you can dirty it up. Because even a little bit of dirt or rust, and rust obviously for her doesn't really apply because she's a dark elf. She probably actually takes really good care of her gear. But dirt or blood could apply, depending. So I might not do, I don't know, it depends on if you're like, did she freshly slaughter somebody or not? I might just do like colors that are in her cloth, or if I did basing, you can always do reflected color from the basing, especially with very highly reflective armor. You won't get a lot of reflected color on this type of armor because it is so dark. So any color that tries to go over the top of it, it's going to, it's going to be influenced by the ground color here of the armor. Whereas with silver or steel armor, bright steel, you can get away with like a lot of color in it because it's pretty much white and it's reflecting all sorts of colors. But whenever you have a surface that's colored, shining like a reflected colored light onto it is going to be somewhat influenced by like your base color. So I probably would have to go pretty subtle. So yeah, this is super clean dark elf. I think I've done rust before on like orcs and stuff, although I think I mostly did with metallics. But you guys could look at older streams to see that. But yes, I decided Dark Elf wanted to be super, super sharp. So that's how you NMM with Dark Steel effect. If you want dark blue steel. And like I said, this is good. It's really good with red or purple cloth. I used to use this exact steel color for vampire knights and stuff back in the day because it looks so good with crimson cloth. So that's a tip on how to use it. Yeah. I mean, it's fast. The thing is, okay, is it's a small model, right? And I'm only working with 3 colors, really, 4 if you count the black. So it does go very quickly to set up. And I mean, there are definitely some fuzzy spots here. Like, I'm not entirely loving this yet. And I need more over here. I mean, if I were refining it and I didn't do my little skull here, I could do my little skull in blue also. Or I was thinking maybe going gold with the skull. But yeah, I could work more on this and get it to a much better standard. So right now, this is like quick demo kind of level. If I had another hour on it, then I could really refine it, really start bringing. There's some areas that I should have highlighted before I did the studs, like these little rounded areas. I should have a highlight on there, and I don't. I could troubleshoot this, and of course I didn't do. Oh, there isn't much to do on the back, but I could use her as a hair demo. She has pretty decent hair. But yeah, so I mean, there's definitely more refinement that could go into this model. My average, remember, for like a Reaper Gallery model is around 8 hours. 10 if this model's pretty simple, so it's like it could easily go up higher with a more complicated model. But But yeah, so I mean, if I spend another hour on this, say it'd be 2.5 hours just on the armor, that'd be about right. Because then I'd have to do the face and hair to a higher standard. I have cloth here that I need to do, and layering smooth highlights on big rounded surfaces can take a while. So yeah, she'd probably end up. Otherwise, though, she's pretty simple. Unless I did freehand or something on her back, she would probably end up around the 8 hour mark, I would think. Um, I would almost certainly. I was just thinking about that, but I really like Succubus Kiss lately. I've been playing a lot with it. It's actually the color that I used for shadows on Elfie Dude here. Like his nose, you see the pink tones on his ear and on his nose and his lips. That's Succubus Kiss. So I'm really liking this color recently. I like that it's transparent, so I can do things like glaze it over skin. But it's also a good color in its own right. And if you add a tiny bit of white to it, or even a tiny bit of red that has a slightly better coverage, you can get a better coverage out of it without losing too much of its color depth. It's a very dark magenta with a touch of other red in it, blue phase red. So it's a very good saturated dark. And it is available. It's a Dungeon Dwellers paint, so you can order it. So I think I would use this for her lower cloth, I'm thinking. Maybe for all the cloth. I'm not certain. I might alternate with black and do that and go with a blue purple color scheme. I see some people in this household are going to laugh at me because I have been blue purpling all the time lately. Like I thought I was in a rut and that I was in a different. I thought I was in a purple and gold rut, but now apparently I am in a blue and purple rut. So, Xandercles, uh, essentially Sharky, when I say this color, I would bring it up a fair bit. So the armor, you'd have to ask yourself. You want to ask yourself, am I going to go darker or lighter than this armor? The armor is pretty dark, but it has light highlights. You really could go with either. I wouldn't want to go pink on her, though, so I probably would make the shadows, at least, as dark as Succubus Kiss. So it'd be like a tuning thing where I'd kind of figure out where I wanted to be. But I think I'm going to go, I mean, I know I've got bone and white hair, and I've probably got some gold accents here to be lighter, so that can introduce contrast. I also could just go with the dark purpley red over all the cloth and use edges, like borders, like gold borders, to separate out the pieces of cloth. So that's all good. Any of that. Sharky, and okay, got your Xanacles. I am often working on multiple models, like I am currently working on that elf bust, which I am almost done with. So like I got him to a seriously good level this weekend, and then I'm also working on Frost Giant Queen and her base, which we'll bring out tomorrow and do some stuff on. And then I've got like a commission model I'm working on, and I've got a paint along model for my Patreon. So I've got, I would say, as far as actively working on, I would go so far as to say 4 to 5, because I've also got my Siren bust that I'm working on. So probably at any given time, 4 to 5 models. 3 colors of the armor, Dan Shan. My base is actually 4 drops of blue liner, 1 drop of ultramarine blue, and 1 drop of white, the white of your choice, really. And 4 drops of blue liner, but my label is very, very, very faded. You can tell this is a very old bottle of blue liner. And that's your base color, and then I just kept adding white. Essentially, I transferred about 4 brushfuls over and added some white, which is how I typically mix highlights. Then I've got pure white, and then the shadows are pure black. So I went very monochrome with this one. Hey, Taveria, thank you. Oh, 10 months. Thank you for that sub. Wow, we got a lot of subs this one, Justin.
Oh yeah, we did actually. I think that's the 5th sub for this episode.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. Thanks, guys. That is lovely. Well, I'm almost to... I started a little late, so I wanted to keep going a little bit longer for this stream. I think I'll just kind of block out some of this back stuff here so that we can have the armor be pretty much mocked in. Maybe I'll do the cloth. Maybe actually I'll show you guys how to work with Succubus Kiss on Wednesday on the cloth. That could be fun. And then we can actually get her cloth done as well. Just kind of blocking in some stuff on her back of her gauntlet here. Just some slight highlights, as you can see. There would be still pretty strong highlights since the light is coming that way. Get a little bit more pure white here. But yeah, if you have any more questions, go ahead and shoot, and we'll wrap it in a little bit. There we go. And I gotta blend that in now. Hey, Jay, thanks. Wow, another one. Thanks for the Twitch Prime. Yeah, so let's play with that. Let's work with Succubus Kiss on Wednesday. We'll do Terrain Tuesday tomorrow just for fun, just because I have terrain to work on. And it keeps me, honestly, it keeps me working on the Frost Giant Queen. When I work on a big project, and some of you guys probably have run into this, it gets very daunting very quickly. You put a lot of energy into it, and you still have more work to do, and sometimes it can kind of slow you down and make you feel kind of daunted. And so doing it on the stream here helps me continue to put work in on it, and pretty soon it'll be to a point where I can seriously start painting it, and then I'll be excited to make it look really good. And then it'll only try to get me to stop, you know, after I've been working on it for 20 hours and I'm like, argh, isn't this model done yet? A little bit of highlight. Your mind sponge is getting saturated? All right, good. What about her hair? Yeah, her hair will be done in Silver MCC War. I just haven't done it yet. If I could make a color that Reaper doesn't have. That used to be my job, Janky. That's what I did. Like, that's how we got all these colors, is Anne just made colors we didn't have. There is, lately, what was it? There was a brown I was using that I was like, I need this brown. And we do not have it. I have to mix it every time I do it. I don't know, I stopped keeping notes on colors that I wanted to make because I'm no longer the person who makes the colors. I don't have a paint lab in front of me, and sadly, we don't have room for a paint lab here. So I would have to be back at Reaper to exercise my paint lab duties. But usually when I'm thinking about that, Janky, I really am looking for a very utilitarian color. Like something that has a lot of different uses is what I would say. That's a useful color to have. There are a lot of colors that you could make and, you know, it would be useful for something. But if they're not useful for a lot, if they don't have a good general purpose use, then they just kind of sit in your box and you don't do a lot with them. So I always try when looking at a new color to ask myself, what would this be used for? Like, is it really useful? Is there another color that already does this? Maybe does it better? That sort of thing, that sort of thinking. And it's really hard. It gets very, very hard. Like now, when Reaper has over 500 different colors, you better bet it's hard to find a color we don't have. So it does get difficult over time. But yeah, all of the, actually, if you look at the Kickstarter colors for Bones 5, the Orchid and Lotus and Leaf Bud colors that are coming out in that are all colors that I decided I desperately needed in my life, so I just made them. So, but right now, yeah, like I said, there was like one color I ran into the other day that I was like, huh, I could really use this pre-mixed. And then I promptly forgot what it was. I am human like everybody else.
It looks like it updated with the improved Reaper raid. Thank you, Trash, for that. And the spoon is now there.
Yay! We have a spoon! Fantastic. Oh, and the raid looks much nicer now. It's so skinny.
Yeah, it's not so much stretched, and the although I liked the color fade on the other one.
Yeah.
This one is just a little easier to read.
Yeah, I think it's easier to read. The Reaper raid, I like it a lot. Yeah, and the spoon.
Thanks again to Trash.
Yes. Trash is awesome.
He has definitely made as I'm sure everyone here knows and is tired of hearing. But obviously the job is very busy, so emotes are one of those things that are on my list, but they fall towards the bottom, so that they take a while to get to. And Trash has made it easy to get some done, purely because we've got a lot of slots, and we're working on some interesting ones now that I think will help fill out our repertoire of emotes.
Great. That's fantastic. Do we have a toolbox one?
Oh. You know what? We don't actually have that one. I think I have the logo even that I can send to.
Yeah.
You know what, Trash? If you're listening, I'm gonna send you the Reaper Toolbox art, and then we can absolutely use that because we're gonna be rebranding that anyway. So.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. That's what Trash just asked: is do you want a toolbox? Yep. And Althai also posted a suggestive blorf emoji in Discord chat. Let's not forget about the blorf. I would love the blorf because then when I blorf, people can post blorf emoji in chat. When I mess up, which often happens. Hey, I've almost finished this NMM. At least to a very, very sketchy level. But then again, I'm kind of sketchy all the time these days. So there we go. Let's see. Shadow. We just need a highlight. Yeah, we need a paint box. All right, so do we have somebody to raid? I'm almost done here, Justin, I think.
Let me find someone real quick.
Yeah, we went long on this stream, but I don't mind. It's Monday. Gets us off to a good start.
Oh,
Blorfs.
Dwarven Forge is live.
Really? Wow. All right, well then. That sounds fun.
We should probably hit them with a big old raid. I actually hit them with a gift bomb. I think it was Saturday night.
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, it was Saturday night. Or Friday night, one of the two.
Yeah. Well, good. Excellent. Awesome. Well, there you go, guys. There's at least our start, and I've got it mostly mapped in on the other side as well. So we finished armor today. I probably should have done the mace head at the same time, but oh well, that's just going to have to deal. So yay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, everybody wants a raid. Good, good. Thank you all for coming. Wait, let me go back to my face cam so I can thank you all for coming and for making Monday morning fun today. I hope that you enjoyed it and learned a lot. And we'll come back to this mini on Wednesday. Yeah. Sweet. Thank you for coming. Thanks, Chewy Boots. Thanks, Jacob. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming on out. Thank you
Yeah.
again, Trash, for helping me with the emotes. Thanks again for everyone in the community that helps. Honestly, at this point,
Yeah.
I can really appreciate when people in the community kind of step up and kind of help with some of this stuff that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Because especially right now with ReaperCon going on,
Yeah.
we're really busy, and I appreciate that our community not only helps support us by watching us and subbing and following and being awesome like they do,
Yeah.
they'll actually help us do stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I could not ask for a better community, honestly.
Yes.
So seriously, guys, thank you. Absolutely.
Yes. All of what Justin said. Thank you so much.
But
right.
also, yes, real quick on the announcements.
Oh,
Josh
right.
is missing Wednesday.
But not today.
But he is going to be on today. Correct. Everyone, be here later this afternoon. Actually, it's 2
p.m.
hours from now.
Yep.
Or 3 p.m. Central Time, for Miniature Monday. Sorry,
Yeah.
not Josh's
Yeah.
stream, but Miniature Monday.
Yeah, we should call it by its proper name. Exactly.
Correct.
And then tomorrow is Michael Proctor's stream. Don't miss that.
It
That's
is.
that's gotten interesting lately.
And I believe, I don't want to spoil who the guest is tomorrow for Proctor Show, but I think I know who it is, as long as that hasn't changed, and I think you guys will enjoy it.
Is it a sculptor or a painter or somebody else?
I think it's a painter.
Oh.
I'm fairly certain it's a painter.
Ooh, all right. All right. Cool. Cool, cool. Excellent. All right, guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Let's get my thing.
All right, guys. Keep being awesome. Spread the Reaper love, and tell Dwarven Forge we said hi. See you guys later.